Boom! We are live! Welcome back to the channel and to another internet oddity video. I do appreciate you clicking this if you have clicked this one. Hopefully this video is interesting. But to cut to the chase, today we are going to explore the world of breatharianism. And if you don't know what that is, that's good, great. You've come to the right place. If you do know what that is, well, I've still got a story for you. By the end of this video, you will know what breatharianism is, you'll know who popularized it, and you'll also know a recent event involving the matter. And to most, this recent event is undeniable proof that breatharianism doesn't work. But to others, it's proof that it's just not for everyone. But I'll leave it down to you to decide after you've been presented with the information. So the lady that we are going to be talking about today, just for anybody that doesn't know, is called, we'll eventually get to Navina Shine. And she basically did a live stream in 2013 attempting this breatharian diet and broadcasting it to the world, which I think it was pretty damn cool of her, to be honest, although wacky. But yeah, so we're going to get to her story eventually. She didn't particularly keep up with the live streaming thing, she more went to daily vlogs, so we're going to get to that at the end. But to get to her story, we do need to talk about a few other people, just to kind of get to understand a little bit better why this seemingly smart and very lovely lady would just throw all common sense out of the window and think that not eating food was a good idea. So first of all, it's a diet. A breatharian is basically someone who doesn't eat food, and some don't even drink water, which honestly, madness. Where am I? Sorry. So I can already hear some of you say what now? But yeah, it's kind of like an extreme version of fasting, and it's considered to be a deadly pseudoscientific quackery today. But it's got deep roots in Hinduism and India, but today's incarnation is something very different and doesn't really represent the original version, so I am told at least. So there has been a few notable people obviously across the way, and that's who we're going to be talking about. Just to give context to the story at the end, the lady we're going to be talking about is quite the enigma, Navina Shine. I think that's actually a real name too. And she basically set out on, I guess, a bit of a quest to basically prove that this thing worked and effectively end world hunger. I'm not really sure she fully realised the scope of what she was trying to do, although it was valiant. She kind of saw herself as someone who had been called upon to shine a light on the information and spread it far and wide, sort of like a bit of a life mission, if you like. And the event garnered massive publicity at the time, but she's not very well known outside of that. But yeah, we're going to get to that part. We do have to talk about a couple of people first. But with that out of the way, very long intro, if you're ready, let's get into breatharianism. So the first guy we're going to be talking about is this lovely gentleman right here, and this is where I have to pause. I'm gonna get a name wrong so many times throughout this. Navina's experiment was most likely based off another lady's quote-unquote teachings who rose to prominence in the late 90s, called Jasmuheen, but she most likely got her ideas from Riley Brooke in the picture, and that was back in the 80s. So we'll basically start from there and work our way forward, although breatharianism does go back way further than that. This was the guy that basically popularized it, Wiley Brooke being the guy that popularized it, and his story is actually quite a wild one. He basically appeared on an 80s show called That's Incredible, where he weightlifted apparently 10 times his weight in front of a crowd. Wiley Brooks is a quite skinny like myself, tall man, so it did not look like the type of guy to be, doing all this weight. And his secret, he says, was not eating. He literally said that he hadn't eaten food for 14 years. So as you can imagine, people caught on with that quickly, and he was picked up for an interview relatively quick, and that's what I'm going to play you. So that's all the context you need, really, for Wiley Brooks. And now this is basically the clip of the interview. It's quite a wild interview, so I'm just going to kind of let it play, and I'm going to, I guess, listen to it myself, because I've not actually listened to it all the way through. Just let me know if volume's no good there. I'll turn that up a bit.
And if it sounds hard to swallow, we're going to find out now from the man who knows. Would you please welcome Mr. Wiley Brooks? Here he is. Wiley, welcome to our show.
Thank you.
I want to ask you something. You haven't eaten for
you used to watch it. That's
17
incredible.
years.
You might even know this guy then.
A hamburger, hot dog, pretzel, a piece of roast beef, fish, vegetables, nothing for 17 years.
Right. Well, let me explain what breatharianism is first, if I might. Breatharianism.
But you haven't eaten for 17 years.
It gives some very interesting
right.
context, this guy, you see.
Breatharianism is a philosophy that believes that the human body, when it's in perfect harmony with itself and nature, is a perfect breatharian. Now, all of the constituents that we need is taken from the air we breathe. And the fact is, there is only one thing that keeps the human body alive, and that is breathing. The food that we take is the same as any other thing we take into the body, as it becomes a habit. In other words, eating is an acquired habit, just like drinking alcohol or smoking cigarettes.
It is an addiction, eating.
Well, does that mean that when a baby is born, you don't have to give it anything to eat, no milk or anything?
No, that would only work if the mother was a breatharian. Because we don't come into the world as breatharians from mothers that are breatharian, before we even get started, our blood is poisoned. You see, we already start at a disadvantage when we're born. So because of that, a person needs to be an adult, and that's why I don't even lecture people who are young about being a breatharian. First, you must kick the habit of eating. You see, we've done...
That does make me laugh.
Right.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to poke fun.
Well, in my case, I had a real good reason for wanting to do it, and that's the reason, that is the thing that will help anyone.
Go to a bad restaurant every night, that'd do it, wouldn't it?
That helps too, right. But my main reason was that I was getting old, you know, and I was, my hair was falling out, and my father bald very early, and of course the answer was that it's hereditary. And I hear that all the time. Every time a person stumps his toe, it's hereditary.
I'm not sure this guy fully believes what he's saying.
So I did not want to get old. I was at 28 at the time, and I'm almost 50 now. Well, 46. So, and I decided...
Let me tell you how you're killing me, say, and would you believe, Tom, I'm 97 years old. Holy cow, look at this guy, this is unbelievable, you know?
Well, I like to say that sometimes, but the feeling is, and what I found to be an important thing to inspire people to look into this, is the fact that all of the things we've heard about, we must get old, and we must get weak. And I think I heard when I was a younger person that a man is twice a child and once a man. And that is not the case. When a person gets older and wiser, he should get younger. He should not die in an unhealthy body. And this is very important. The issue here is not whether I want to die early or whether I will live a long time or not, and that comes up all the time. But the quality of life that I live is the most important thing. And there is no way of having perfect health or perfect happiness without having perfect health. So,
do you breathe, do a lot of deep breathing and things to get the whatever is in the air that's good for you into your system?
This guy really did promote a lot of safety.
And one of the reasons why I was insistent on finding out how the body worked is because I had always heard that the human body was created by the Creator in perfection. And obviously, if something is created perfect, there's nothing you can do to it but make it less perfect. And that's exactly what man has done. The body was created perfect. It needed nothing but the breath of life which comes from the creative source, God or universal intelligence or whatever name you want to put on it. In that state, man was perfect, and all that we have done to it is that we have taken it from that perfect state to a lower point of consciousness. And that is why our environment and everything that is in our lives are where they are, because of the quality of our blood.
You'll have heard a lot of this kind of stuff getting regurgitated in the New Age sort of stuff.
You know what I mean?
Yes, that's right.
So this is the 80s.
You live, forgive me, now this is a great city I'm going to mention.
Yes, I
understand. What if you live in Secaucus, New Jersey? You know, I mean...
It would be a problem.
New Jersey. Never heard of it. Let me know.
I think it would. Now maybe I'm not right. I shouldn't say that so directly because I'm not too sure about Secaucus, but I know there are a lot of industrial plants in Jersey, right?
Yes, sir.
And that would be a problem. And that is one of the major problems. But clearing up the problem does not happen by trying to do it from the outside. It must be done from the inside. Man's environment is the direct representation or the reflection of what man is himself. So actually to clear up our environment is necessary to clear up the blood of the people. You see, a breatharian is probably more concerned with the air than a person who's eating everything.
How many breatharians are there in this country, would you say?
I don't know of that many. I know of several people that have, for instance, there was a young lady who stopped eating when she was 9 years old and she didn't eat anything for 10 years. And there are other people that are at varying degrees of breatharianism, you see. So there's another thing that's...
I've got to ask you this one on the air, and you're asked it all the time.
Right.
We read that the hunger strikers in Belfast died.
Right.
You're living. What's the
That's right.
difference? What's the difference?
The difference is, very importantly, they wanted to die.
Oh,
And I get this in my lectures all the time.
Come on,
And people do not realize there is a big difference in a man stopping to eat who's trying to kill himself and a person who's not eating because he's trying to improve his health. You see? That is the difference. Health is a thing here. Breatharianism just happens to be a word that seems to be new, but it's been around as long as man has been here. But man has a choice of eating or not eating. I am not against eating, and one of the things I'd like to point out right away is I don't recommend fasting. Now, I know everybody thinks they should run out and stop eating, and I don't recommend that, because that is not the way to do it. The body has to adjust gradually and retrace itself back to the original state of health, which was breatharian.
That's the way I view it. I figure in 25 or 30 years I'll, make the adjustment to where I... Do you ever... I guess you don't get hungry anymore.
No,
when you walk on the streets and smell things being cooked, you
doesn't mean a thing. And I can tell you why. It's very simple. If we have an automobile, we have a gauge on it that says empty and full. If the automobile is full of gas, is there any need to put any more in it?
No.
So the meter says full. Same thing with me.
Your meter's full.
The appetite says one thing. That's right. The appetite says one thing.
Nice, though?
Your body is lacking energy to keep it balanced properly. Now, when you have satisfied that balance in your system by what other method you might use, the body has no appetite. So there's no reason to eat.
I don't have a lot of time here, but what happens when somebody invites you out to dinner? No, I mean, eating is a social thing, too. You know what I mean?
It is true.
Tom, I'd like to point out
Right, I'm going to turn that down just a little tad, getting ready for the next bit.
It is, because not only is it, it's hard for a person to go out and do that, from my side, but even when I learned to cope with that, I found that I still had difficulty because everybody who knew me would feel guilty about eating all the time.
Because you're fine.
Exactly.
All right. Thank you for being with us tonight, Wiley.
My pleasure.
Keep going. Happy holidays to you. We will continue right after these announcements.
Okay. So, sadly, Brooks was...
Again, Mr. George Allen, the former football coach, and Susan St. James, the present actress. Thank you all for being with us here in New York.
Should have probably cut that bit out. My apologies. Right, so Brooks was later discredited when he was actually seen eating food and drinking Diet Coke, and it was actually his own followers that caught him and spilled the beans. So I will read out what is on the screen right now. So, Wiley Brooks, 47 years old and co-founder of the Breatharian Institute, says that the secret to his strength, health and youthness that he hasn't eaten for 19 years. He has about 400 followers, but his group has been severely shaken by the charges that Brooks ordered a chicken pot pie and biscuits in a Vancouver hotel. Now, the rest doesn't really matter. You get the point. He was basically caught eating. Obviously, no one can survive without eating, and he'd been seen eating burgers and drinks and stuff, but I can't find those pictures. It's all rather old and forgotten at this point. However, the guy's influence was still relatively far-reaching. Hard to dispute, and that's somebody who it rubbed off on was obviously the next lady, who is also integral to the breatharian movement, giving it new life and the new face that it so dearly needed after a decade-long hiatus. But sadly, unlike Wiley Brooks, who did at least have some kind of safety in mind, Jasmuheen was a little bit different. Jasmuheen. She came to prominence in like the 90s and was incredibly popular. So, part 2. We can do this. Right, so Ellen Greaves, or Jasmuheen as she is better known as, exploded into popular culture in the late 90s when she appeared in a straight-to-video documentary, and she also made a book called Living Off Light, boasting some fairly outlandish theories. Australian TV programme 60 Minutes thought so at least, and that's what led them to them inviting her on the show, where Jasmuheen could prove that she lived off light, much like Whiteley. The setup would be simple, 7-day trial, fully televised, live to the public, where she would have basically no food or water the entire duration, accompanied by on-site medics to check her vitals often, and 3 guards to watch over her at pretty much all times to make sure she doesn't eat. She had stated that she had lived without food or water for the last 14 years, basically claiming that she'd been living off cosmic dust and micro food from breathing, which I'll let you decide how you feel about that one. But yeah, she basically calls it prana, not piranha. It's not like the fish piranha, prana, and it's like a Hindu word, a Hindu philosophy, basically. But yeah, that's what she calls it. But regardless, she actually went on the show. She was very happy to go on the show, and it's actually quite amazing because people still cite this today as proof that breatharianism does work, like that it's a thing that works. So I've got a few clips. I've got like the full show, but I've shortened it for brevity. I've only really taken out a lot of Jasmuheen being incredibly pretentious to the interviewer, so you haven't missed too much. You'll get the gist of what happens. So rather than me just like going through it all and being like, oh well, this is what happened on day 1, this is what happened on day 2, I'll basically just show you this, seeing as I can now edit a little bit, and you can feel free to let us know what you think in the comments or whatever, and then we'll get to talking about it afterwards. So if everybody is ready and you're rolling your popcorn, the clip is about to start. I'll turn it up. Have you seen
now, no one would bother much with this nonsense if it wasn't for the fact that Jasmuheen's teachings are linked to the deaths of a Melbourne housewife, Lani Morris, and Timo Deegan, a German schoolteacher, and Verity Lynn, an Australian who lived in Scotland.
She didn't care about
all were following the radical fasting regime promoted in Jasmuheen's book, Living on Light. Verity Lynn died here in remote Scottish moorlands where she'd been camping alone. By her side was a copy of Jasmuheen's book and a diary with an entry noting she was into the 7th day of the 21-day fast.
What she is teaching is a fraud. Because if she is saying that you can live in this world without eating and drinking, then that is a fraud, and people believe it, then they're going to die.
Dr. David Milliken studies cults, and he believes, any way you look at it, Jasmuheen's message is a lie.
I guess it's tempting to say that she's mad, but I shy away from that, because my dealing with a lot of cult leaders leads me to believe that they actually believe intensely in what they're doing. But then, I guess when she gets hungry and eats a piece of Kentucky Fried Chicken, I would ask her then, does she believe? Because of course she eats.
As we know, when we experience personal paradise and take full responsibility for our lives, then we'll have a wonderful chance of creating global paradise.
New Age claptrap, half-baked spiritualism. Call it what you will. But it seems there are plenty of gullible people around to swallow the tripe Jasmuheen serves up.
It's people that
Chi masters that are so powerful with their radiation, their emanations of energy, they have found that through their key emissions or chi emissions into a crowd, 300 out of 400 people attending automatically stop eating just like that.
How many followers do you think you have?
We have no followers because we're dealing with intelligent, switched on people who don't need gurus.
So condescending.
Sorry, run that past me again.
We have no followers. I write books. I put information out on the net. If people feel it works for them, they may apply some of the principles.
How many supporters?
Probably 100 million.
100?
100 million.
You're doing well.
We are.
If we are to believe Jasmuheen practices what she preaches and eats virtually nothing at all, then she's remarkably healthy. But should we believe her?
I don't take any solid foods. I'm a breatharian. I have been for 19 years.
Back in the early 80s, Californian Wiley Brooks preached much the same message as Jasmaheen and built quite a following until he was caught coming out of a fast food store with a chicken pie. Brooks happens to be a close friend of Jasmaheen.
Wiley Brooks, yes, he's a fascinating man.
A fraudster.
Well, some people could say that, but I've been where Wiley's been. I'm there. He was seen coming out of a 7-Eleven McDonald's because he was travelling with a group of people who eat. I mean, would you like me to say, hey, Richard, we're travelling together, don't you eat? It's not really cool.
So he came out with a chicken pie, but he wasn't going to eat it himself.
That is the press.
You might dismiss Jasmaheen as merely the latest in a colourful line of New Age carpetbaggers, except her message is dangerous and she's deluded. Jasmaheen actually believes she can live without food or water. In fact, when we suggested a test, without hesitation, she agreed. So you're happy that we lock you up for 7 days and watch you die?
You wouldn't watch me die. I'd come out smiling and laughing of your holiday.
But you're happy that we lock you up for 7 days?
Can we do it somewhere really beachy and yummy?
Lock you up inside.
Oh, no problem.
She believed it. Wiley, I don't
We installed Jasmaheen in a Brisbane hotel with a roster of female security guards in her room 24 hours a day to ensure she didn't eat or drink. Her progress was checked by Dr. Beres Wenck, President of the Queensland branch of the Australian Medical Association. And by day 2, there were already problems.
So you're now over 5% dehydrated.
I did 4 weeks today. You were pleased. Is that good? I don't know.
If we let this go much longer, that's going to damage your kidney.
Day 3, and Jasmaheen was complaining that city pollution was limiting the nutrients she was able to derive from breathing fresh air. We were stacking the test against her, she claimed, so we agreed to move to another location.
Oh, to smell the air.
We went 20 kilometres outside Brisbane to a place called Clear Mountain. Here, Jasmaheen was happy again, but starting to look gaunt. By day 4, her condition had deteriorated dramatically. Her pulse rate was up, blood pressure down, and she had lost 6 kilos. It's Friday night. You started on Monday night. How much water have you had?
None.
None whatsoever?
No, I'm not allowed.
How much food?
None, I'm not allowed.
How are you feeling?
I feel really good now I'm here.
You want a lay opinion?
A lay opinion?
A lay opinion.
Yeah, well, I'd look like I'd lost a lot of weight, and the doctor confirmed, so yeah.
You're not looking real well.
No, that's not good.
You're now quite dehydrated, probably over 10%, getting up to 11%.
What do you think? Last night was 5%. My mouth's still moist, and my skin's not bad, so...
But the question
and
is...
her eyes are a little sunken. Her pulse is about double what it was when she started.
Is she entering a dangerous period?
Very much so.
This is 4 24-hour days she's gone now. And what are the risks?
Well, the risks if she goes any further are kidney failure. She's burning up her fat and her muscle. That means she's hardly passing any urine.
That's true. I did 4 times today.
It's too dangerous to continue?
Very much so. Too dangerous to continue. 60 minutes would be culpable if they encouraged her to continue.
So she should stop now?
It should stop now.
Can you come to the intelligent view yet?
If my body tells me, yes.
That you can't survive on air?
No, that's not true, because I've done it for a long period of time, and the last time, look, 6,000 people have done this around the world without any problem, Richard.
But look, even to a layman like me, at the end of 4 days, I can see your body's collapsing. Will you
because
yet come
I've spent 2 days fighting carbon monoxide poisoning. If 60 minutes didn't put me beside the Story Bridge, the busiest main road, where, like, I asked for fresh air, like 70% of my nutrients come from fresh air, I couldn't even breathe in that place.
Can you explain how she can believe this, given the evidence in front of her?
But I've done it before.
I can't, and I mean, the vast majority of the community out there don't believe for 1 second that Jasmaheen practices what she preaches. And
don't say such terrible things on national television and insult the audience out there.
But unfortunately, there are a few people who may believe what she says, and I'm sure that's only a few, but I think it's quite irresponsible for someone to be trying to encourage others to do something that is so detrimental to their health and well-being.
So, turns out that Breatharians said that because the show stopped the experiment, cutting it short, they proved nothing, accusing the show of sabotage and therefore proof that you can actually live as a Breatharian. Amazing, right? Yeah, I mean, this is what actually people were saying. I guess it would make sense if you were dehydrated. That's a little bit of a low blow, I do agree. Self-proclaimed professional Breatharian though, who'd lived a rich life for so long, you know, had problems after 4 days. I mean, that should tell everybody everything, but obviously not everybody got the idea, which leads us to today's subject. Me! No, I'm only kidding. You know, we all know I'm a Red Bullarian. Anyway, Navina Shine, it's a lovely name, little is known about her outside this event, to be quite honest with you. What we do know about her, sorry, I should have put a bit more time in on this bit. What we do know about her is she is from Seattle, Washington. But until 2013, I'm pretty much sure that the internet didn't know about her, and she'd never hit any headlines. Her plan was pretty much like the 60 Minutes episode, where but obviously without the guards and stuff, or the doctors, but I just have to add that this lady was way more sane. Like, way more. Her plan, though, was very much the same. She wanted to kit her whole house out, do it live streamed, 24-hour kind of thing, show it to the whole world. She wanted to do it on her own website, which obviously wasn't a good idea. Probably showing her age, I guess. But that didn't end up working, the live stream thing. It happened for a little bit, and then she went to daily vlogs. So again, rather than just, you know, talking about these daily vlogs, there's like, I think 25 of them, and probably the runtime throughout them all would be a few hours. But honestly, after listening to this lady a great deal, Navina Shine, this is the lady that we're about to show you next, I genuinely think this lady is quite nice. Like, she's a very nice lady. She's not a dummy or anything, and she probably did have really good intentions. She really did emphasize the whole experiment part of it. She, you know, thought that if people could live without food, then that'd be great, cure world hunger. Sadly, it's not that easy, but yeah, I've got another little clip. It's more of a little bit of a montage of her endeavour. I do hope that you like it. I think it gets the point across, and obviously I got to mess about with some more video editing, so I hope you enjoy. Navina Shine, take it away. So I'm just going to watch this part with you as well, to be honest.
Hi, my name is Navina Shine, and I'm both the founder of Living on Light, and I'm the subject in our first experiment. So this spiritual endeavour on Living on Light is designed to bring into the universe a whole different paradigm of living on our planet. This is a paradigm for living in which we as human beings do not have to ingest any kind of food whatsoever into our stomachs in order to thrive. Why does this matter? Why is it important? This is why. Once our whole planet realizes that a human being does not have to eat to thrive, we can change everything we do, everything we know.
It'd be great.
And we can treat our planet entirely differently.
It'd be great.
We can treat our lives entirely differently when we know that we don't have to eat. Do you have any idea how much time and energy is spent putting food on the table?
So this lady
especially in poor countries,
doing the Breatharian diet now. You know,
if we didn't have to do that,
if I didn't make that clear,
just imagine how free our lives would become.
She's not eating now.
If humans didn't have to eat,
but this is
we could turn our planet back into the place of beauty.
Or very near the start.
Our land could become gardens and parks. Our animals could live in peace. The oceans and the soils could become pure again. And our industries could be cleaned up and dedicated to the enjoyment of life. I mean, there's so much we could do to change our planet just from this one thing, just from this one understanding that humans do not have to eat,
it'd be awesome.
It would change everything.
It'd be awesome.
So here at Living on
Get
Light,
away with sleep at the same time.
we propose that there might be a system already installed and active within our bodies that we can use to live without eating carbon-based foods. Since there's presently no evidence to say what this system is, I am symbolically calling it light.
So I should admit there's no evidence for
This is not new. Already, there are people in this world who live on light.
Wait for it.
They generally call themselves breatharians or sun gazers. And yogis have often claimed to the ability to live on light. Throughout history, there have been many people who have claimed they've stopped eating. Sometimes they say they've stopped drinking too, and they say they thrive very well. Today, it's claimed by Jasmaheen, an expert in this field, that there might be close to 40,000 people. Hi, my name is Navina Shine. I am both the founder of Living on Light, and I'm the subject in the first of our experiments.
2-3 hours of this, so you guys can sit through.
Living on Light is a deeply spiritual endeavor. This project is way more important than a single person. I'd say more important even than the human race. The paradigm of living on light is one that affects everything and everyone in our whole world. The experiment itself is intended to bring into the world the realization that human beings might be vastly more than we think ourselves to be, that we have a lot more capabilities than we have allowed ourselves to demonstrate or utilize in the past. In this particular experiment, we're intending to demonstrate that human beings do not have to eat in order to thrive. We want to show that we as human beings might have a system already embedded within our mind, body, spiritual systems from which we can take nourishment. This nourishment we're calling light. We don't yet know if it's actually light, or if the nourishment is coming from the air or the sun or from somewhere else. But symbolically, the best description for what we wish to demonstrate is living on light. You can go to livingonlight.co or to another YouTube to find details of who we are and what we're doing. Here, I want to emphasize that for me, who's just a representative of existence, who happened to have received the idea and put it together, this is a spiritual endeavor. I call it a spiritual endeavor because I see myself as being called from a spiritual place within to create this experiment and bring this vastly important information out into the world. Hi, my name is Navina Shine, and I'm the founder of Living on Light. So in this Living on Light experiment, we want to demonstrate that it's possible for a human being to thrive without the need to ingest food into the physical body. Hi, I'm Navina, and I'm doing this Living on Light experiment. I'm the subject. I'm going to be spending at least the next 40 days inside this beautiful space here. So I just wanted to check in with you. This is day 4, let you know how it's going. Okay, one of the questions that I would ask somebody who says they're going to be living on light,
the numbers of the
I would say to
numbers.
them, what makes you think that you can do this? What is there that makes you think that you can do something that looks so impossible? So first of all, I don't think I can do it. I stand in the place of it's already done. I don't know, maybe I'll catch up to that or maybe I won't. But I have had an experience in my life that's shown me
Welcome, Tati,
that
by the way.
What we think is real and true and can or can't happen is not actually so. That things can and do occur that, in my opinion, is way beyond what we think is possible. I'm Navina Shine again. I'm doing Living on Light. Now I've said pretty well as much as all that can be said about living on light. All it is, I'm sitting in this room for 4 months and I'm not. So today I want to talk about paradigm shifting, because that's going to be important if you really want to get living on light, or anything else actually. If you think of a paradigm as the way that you look,
I do like this bit.
It's not about what you're looking at all. It's about how you're looking at it. We change paradigms all the time. As new stuff comes into our reality, we start looking at it differently. And then when we look at something differently, we see something different. Hi, I'm Navina, living on light still. This is the 10th day. It's the 13th of May. And I'm feeling hale and hearty, no problem.
I'm sorry about the audio.
Lost 15 pounds. I could well use losing 15 pounds. So there's not a lot to say yet. We don't have a live stream. We're just having a hard time with that. It might.
Feel free to go watch it.
I don't know what we're going to do about it. We need like $6,000 or $7,000 to get the camera, so we'll just have to wait for that. Navina again. I'm just about to read the second part of the first chapter of my book.
That's what she's doing. So.
Hey, this is Navina. Today I want to give you a picture of what it looks like in the place where I'm doing this experiment. We don't have a live stream yet. Don't know when we're getting it. But what it's going to look like is something that you're seeing on the screen now. Hi, this is Navina Shine. Here I am sitting in my little experimental space here. And this is day 14 of the experiment. 2 weeks have gone by.
Fuck, 2 weeks.
Hi, this is Navina again. Okay, so this is Choice of a Lifetime by Navina Shine, Chapter 1, Part 2. Hi, Navina here. This is the 5th day of the experiment, 5th week of the experiment on a Friday. This is the time when you get all the data, such as it is. It's been quite a crazy time. So this is Navina. This is day 42 of the Living on Light experiment. And today's the day I'm going to give you all the scientific data that I can give you. I know people love to dissect that and see what's going on. I think you can see pretty well that I'm looking fairly healthy. Certainly I've lost weight. You can see it in my face and you can see it in my neck. You can actually see it all over the place, because it's true I've lost weight. But it looks as if my weight has steadied throughout the last week. I haven't actually lost an awful lot.
She did say that she
I'll give you the numbers in a few minutes.
Stop losing weight now.
Something I've also noticed that before I started this, I was beginning to get a lot of pain from arthritis in my hands, and it looks as if there's hardly any pain left there. So I would suspect that my body has already stripped out all the stuff that needed to be stripped out, and has come to a place now that it is pretty cleansed inside. So even if nothing else, that's been really good. So I have been concerned that I was losing too much weight, and definitely by the time I got to 125 pounds,
it don't end terribly.
I would be having flashing red lights and looking to see if I wanted to continue this, because I know that there is an end to it if it's not true, and I still have no idea if it's true that you can live on light.
And
I'm making sure that nothing gets damaged.
Have died because of this. At least 5. That's just at least.
Hi, Navina Shine here. This is Living on Light. It's on the day before the end of the experiment. So I wanted to give you a quick update, probably the last one, in fact certainly the last one, of the data from the experiment. Today I reached 125 pounds, which was the weight I said was going to be the time when I was going to have a red mark on it anyway. So today's the red mark day. I certainly wasn't going to go down to 120, even though I believe that is supposed to be the weight I'm supposed to be at, if I wasn't overweight. So 125 today, and I am certainly clear that I was going to need to stop anyway. So having it stopped by tomorrow seems like everything has come together in a very a serendipitous way.
She did well, man. She did like 44 days, you know.
The question, am I living on light, has certainly not been answered.
Bless.
It hasn't not been answered either. It hasn't had anything. It's just neither yes nor no.
Though, right?
It's still very much in the I don't know. And I think that's where it's meant to be.
Yes,
I talked about that in my last YouTube. So I think it's exactly fine as it is. So let me just give you the weights and the measurements so that our wonderful scientists out there can see what's been going on.
You see? So
okay.
It's kind of important.
So the bust measurement is now 36.
44 days.
That's a total loss of 3 inches. Remember, I was pretty overweight before. The waist is now 34 inches. And that's a total loss of 2 inches. I think I'm surprised that was so little, actually.
Yeah, same.
The hips are now 39 inches. And that's a total loss of 3.5 inches. And a big one. I'm so pleased about this one. The belly was 37 today, and now that's a loss of 6.5 overall. The arm, 11 inches, which is a total loss of 0.5 inch, and the leg is now 20.5 inches, and that's a total loss of 4.5 inches. So the weight being 125 gives it a loss from the last meal of 34 inches, and from the actual date of the experiment starting, the 3rd of May, 28, not inches, I mean pounds. 28 pounds and 34 pounds from the very beginning. So all of those things are within the parameters of a fast, nothing more than that. People do this. I have friends who've done 40 days, 45 days, whatever. So it doesn't tell us anything about living on light. I feel really great. I mean, it feels, I exercise 3 times a day now. I dance. It's got lots of energy. Hands still get cold. I mean, once it gets down less than 70, my hands get cold. But I warm them up, and that's fine. That's been the same all the way through. I don't have any feelings of sickness or pain within my body at all.
That will be about the end of the presentation. We're obviously going to have a little bit of a Q&A afterwards, but you've got to come join us on Twitch if you want to get in on the Q&A. I just quickly add a little bit more context, because I did leave this part out of the script because I wasn't entirely sure if it was true, but apparently, apparently Naveena's from Birmingham originally. She worked as a teacher for a while. In her younger years, she travelled the world. Apparently, went to Abu Dhabi, all over the world, literally all kinds of other places. She had a degree in psychology, so she was relatively clever, I suppose. So yeah, she went into this as an experiment. She didn't claim that she was going to, unlike the other people. So I just wanted to end this on saying, like, clearly you cannot do it. This lady, with all her heart, tried to do it, and it cannot be done. If anybody's watching this that might want to be a breatharian, take it from Naveena, who did 44 days. It can't be done. And I'm sorry about that, because I would love to end world hunger as well. You know, I obviously, but it's just sadly not as simple as that, like, and it's never gonna be. But yeah, wait, there we go. We'll start with that. We'll end with that, should I say? Thank you for watching. If you have watched all the way through on YouTube, you are an absolute legend. If you feel like we have earned it, drop us a like, drop us a sub. There'll be more content like this coming in the future, and I will definitely be trying to edit some better visuals like today. I hope today's been better visuals. We're going to have a Q&A now, but again, you have to follow us on Twitch to come and join in on the Q&A. CloudSurfer69, live daily. Right, that's the end of that. End recording only. Yep. Peace.